Come on in, everyone. Come on in because we are here to talk about Married at First Sight, season 19, episode 12. Y'all, these couples is falling apart. These marriages are falling apart. Um, Big news, the big news. Will said no thank you. Will said no thank you. I'm going to be asking for a divorce. And Brittany fell apart at the end. We're going to have to talk about it. We're going to really have to talk about it. We're going to have to talk about the collapse between Belinda and Chad. Chad, you need to walk away. Yeah, I think Chad, they both need to walk away. They both need to walk away. This not going to work. This not it. This not it. And Dr. Pia was fit to be tied with Belinda. I know she was. Dr. P was probably out on a yacht somewhere, and then Belinda was calling her with this bull crap, petty stuff about Chad lied. About what? Talking to Josh? Why can't Josh be the liar? Didn't y'all say you just caught Josh in a lie not too long ago, right? So why couldn't it be conceivable that Chad really did have the conversation with Josh and that Josh lied to Jalen? Couldn't it be that Josh didn't tell Jalen everything? Jalen's talking about, I saw his phone, I saw the text. That's not what Josh said. Well, how do you know you've seen everything? Between Jalen and her mama being the lie detectors, they think they know every doggone thing. They think they have the ability to call people liars, tell people who's the truth, and whatever they say goes, because like I said before, they really don't realize that they're leading with their own trauma. They really are. Like I said, very leading with fear, very, very scared. And to be honest with you, a lot of this had to have come from Belinda teaching her daughter this, projecting it onto her, because their level of distrust of people it's too high. And their reaction to certain things is just too much. Everybody lies. I don't know where you're going to find a person out here that doesn't tell a lie. There used to be a day and time when you called it a white lie, a little white lie. Belinda and Jalen, they don't have no differentiation between that. If you tell anything, if you said you was there at 1, but you was really there at 1:30 to them, that's a lie. That's a lie. But we're gonna talk about that when we get back. I'm gonna play my introduction video, and we're gonna talk about all that in addition to Merrick. That would be their married man, Merrick, Megan, and Derek. All right, see y'all soon. So we back, y'all. We are back to talk about, first we're going to talk about Megan and Derek, because when we first saw the episode, Megan was running around telling Derek, do this, do that. Megan has fallen into the wife look, the honey-do list. Derek, I got a honey-do list for you. And now that I'm pregnant carrying your baby, you can't say nothing. Just get it done. But Derek is happy to get it done because Derek has hit the jackpot. Derek has been traveling the world like a vagabond from country to country to country to country. He's a middle child. He's been wanting a family. He done stumbled upon a Megan whose family got some good coins. She got a good coin because her house is very nice in Texas. And she said, if I'm going to make room for you in this house, we're going to need to get rid of some of my stuff. Well, at least she's willing to get rid of some of her stuff. Like that alone is good, Megan, because Rhonda, she wasn't looking at getting rid of anything in her house. So once again, I was impressed with Megan. She was clearing out space in her house to make her man feel comfortable. Derek was more than happy to move on into that house, slide right on in there. And Megan was saying, do this, move this around. And Megan also went on out and bought herself a nice new fancy car. She didn't need no approval from Derek. She didn't need no nothing, no down payment, nothing. She went out right there, bought her own car, signed on the dotted line. It was good to go. Megan is the complete opposite of Jalen and Belinda. Megan is a, you know, Jalen over here first, Belinda and Jalen over here trying to wonder should they sign a post-nup. Megan's gonna be the one that presents Derek with a post-nup. Okay, let me tell you, I wouldn't put it past her. But they went to go pull the little prank on their mom and their daddy, let them know y'all about to be a grandma and grandpa, gramps, nana, whatever, mima, whatever people call their grandmas out here, big mama, whatever it is. And they made dinner. And did y'all see Megan plate that food for Derek and put that plate in front of him like a good old Southern woman? Texas is the South, right? Do we still consider Texas the South? Because Megan's like, I make my man his plate and I put it in front of him. But Derek is winning, y'all. I don't care what y'all say. Y'all may say Megan is crazy. She is. But right now, Derek is winning. And Megan says she's a perfectionist. She loves organization. She's a bit OCD. She run around wiping off the furniture. Wait till that baby comes, girl. Wait till that baby comes. But you know what? They making the house a home. And Derek says, I'm loving this husband life. And I don't mind doing all this honeydew stuff. And he's letting her know, listen, when decision day comes, I'm going to say a yes. It ain't no doubt about it, Megan. I want to let you know right now, there ain't no doubt in my mind. I'm giving you all the assurance you need. It's going to be a yes for me. And Megan says, you know, well, just to let you know, we ain't got to be together. Megan, girl. Megan said, we ain't got to rush through the decision. So I don't want you to think that I'm here to trap you or that I'm going to force you to marry me in some type of shotgun wedding, even though y'all already married. We may be in the South, but we don't have to have no shotgun wedding. We don't have to rush it. We can stay dating. But Derek says, oh no, I'm making it clear. There's no doubt in my mind it's going to be a yes. They going to say yes. Megan was just letting him know that I'm not no shrinking violent and I'm not going to be like some of these other women around here, Britney, who's going to be begging a man to stay with her, because we can see later on that Britney is going to be begging Will to stay with her. And what I want to know is Will going to give into it? Okay, let's talk about it. So first of all, Britney and Will, prior to all this, was saying that things were getting better. And even Will has told the girl he loves her. You know, it took him a long time. It took him up into the last episode to tell her that he loved her, but he got it out. And he's talking about how he feels as if they have a much stronger connection. But Britney, she never satisfied. She never has enough assurance. You see, Britney kept running around saying that the assurance she needed from Will was for him to say he loves her. But as we saw in this episode, the minute he told her he loved her, immediately it wasn't enough. Like I said, Britney is like a cup with a hole in it on the bottom. It's never enough. She can never feel secure enough. Never feel secure enough. And when the man told her that he loved her, she immediately want to know, what does that mean? What? Didn't you just get that I love you just not too long ago? Now we got to go into the deeper meaning of it. And, you know, what it meant to her was, she says, I want you happy. That's what he said. And he said he's committed. And he said, action. He said, love is an action, not a feeling. And that wasn't good enough for Britney, because for Britney, love is all feeling. All of it is feeling. And she says, well, I want a little bit more feeling. So what, you don't want the action? Because you know what would happen if you gave her the feeling without the action, then she'd be like, I want the action too. You need to give me more action. Put this in it. Put that in it. This girl. So she's a bottomless pit. She is a bottomless pit. And Will is tired of it. You know, you could tell he was rolling his eyes. He's basically saying nothing's good enough for you. No matter what I give you, it's never good enough. And she says, well, I don't want you to love me just out of obligation. Girl, what? She says, I don't want you to love me. Just basically, you held a gun in his head, Brittany. What do you mean you don't want him to love you out of obligation? You done badgered him. You done got your friends to badger him. You done got the experts to badger him. What more obligation are you setting up here? This is obligation. At this point, you basically forcing the man to say some things that I don't even think he was ready to say it. I think he just said it so that she could never say he didn't say it, to be honest with you. Because when he was getting ready to leave for the little, the last night, and they're supposed to go their separate ways so they each can contemplate their big decision. It was Brittany once again coming with the tears, coming with the, I'm going to miss you, I'm going to miss you. He said, well, it's not forever. And she says, well, is it? Goodness, Brittany, I'm tired of Brittany. You know what I'm saying? You know what? Will has his things. I've talked about him plenty. But I'm going to tell you, Brittany's exhausting. She's exhausting in her own way. No, just as Rhonda's exhausting, but in different ways. But it's just, both of it is just exhausting on your spirit, on your soul. It gets to a point where would you really even be enthusiastic or interested in spending any length of time with Brittany? Because at some point in time, Brittany is going to self-sabotage. It doesn't really matter what you do or give her. That thing inside of her, that little insecure girl that's inside of her, steps up every single time. It steps up. It takes over that woman body you see of Brittany. She's not in control. That woman body, that outside shell you see of Brittany, she looks like a grown woman. She's not in control. Who's in control is the little girl inside of Brittany who is scared. And a lot of it comes from, I don't think Brittany knows what love looks like or feels like, and she's really confused. And I know she said she never saw her mother or father kiss or hug, and I think it's confused Brittany. I don't think Brittany knows what she wants. Do you want the physical? Do you want the words? Do you want both? In what doses do you want both? Do you want half and half, 50-50, 70-30, 37, and at 30-70? It doesn't matter, because no matter what you give Brittany, she's not satisfied with it. She feels as if she needs something else. And that's because she's so unsettled. She's so unsure. She doesn't have any control over her mind, over her emotions whatsoever. She just bends with them and they just control her. It really is torture. When you are solely led on emotion, right? And you can never have any logic at all. You have no control, none whatsoever. You see what I'm saying? And you start to feel like out of sorts. You start to feel like, how do I get in these places? Because for you don't want to go to these dark places, but because your mind is so weak, your mind is so fragile, your mind has tricked you to be such a fearful and scary person that you don't have control over your actual physical body, your limbs, your emotions. And it's almost like you're living in this person's body, but yet you're not connected to it. It's so sad to watch. It really, really is sad to watch. And Brittany and Will was tired of it. Will was tired of it. And he said, you know what? When she told him that she loved him, he went back on her and dished it on her. What kind of love? What kind of love? Now it's tit for tat. You see, that's what Will is really good at. He's good at sort of the antagonizing. When he sees you writhing in pain, when he sees you weak, when he sees you crumbling or scratching at trying to connect with him, he doesn't always, not always, he doesn't throw you an olive branch, but he also can antagonize you. And I think Will flip-flops between the two. Sometimes he tries to save Brittany, but like he said, it's hard to have a conversation with a person who doesn't have any logic to them, who doesn't listen, who doesn't understand. And Will is just tired. He's just tired. And he says he doesn't want to be with someone where his feelings are ignored and his thoughts are ignored. And he tells her that he adores her. But he says, I can't be with someone where my feelings don't matter at all. And even though Brittany says she doesn't want to make him feel obligated, that's exactly what you're doing, Brittany. That's what you're doing, because when you sit there and you cry and you whine and you act like this helpless puppy, is really trying to manipulate a person to give you what you want, even though you yourself are not really practicing the things you need to practice in order to take care of yourself. You want others to take care of you, but technically, Brittany, you're not even protecting your own mental health. It's really, really sad to watch this in action. And I know we saw coming up on the next episode that even though Will said, I'm going to say no on this day, we see them sitting in front of Pastor Cal and we see them sitting in front of Dr. Pia. And something tells me that they're going to do what they did in previous episodes. And whenever there's a couple sitting in front of them and that couple, Pastor Cal or Dr. Pia or even Dr. Pepper don't know what they're going to say, they try one last time on that couch in that last session to try to keep the couple together. They do. They've done it every season. So now what I'm wondering, are they going to do that to Will and Britney? Are they going to try to have Will one last time give in to Britney? Right? Because really that's what he's done. I mean, we really do know, I think a lot of us believe that Will really could have been gone a while ago. But for some reason, whether it's because he doesn't want to look bad on TV, I don't know whether or not he's really is trying. I think he was really trying. And I do think there came a point in time when he didn't want to try anymore. This episode, it was very evident that Will was done with Britney. The amount of eye rolling he did with Britney this episode was more than any other episode. Will's been done for a minute now. So he couldn't even wait until they got to the little decision chair. And you know what? I commend him because what he didn't want to do was he didn't want to tell her on camera for the first time. So in that respect, I think that Will did practice some concern and consideration for Britney, because what he could have done was already know in his head he's going to tell her no and spring it on her then at that moment. But this is what a lot of us argue about when it even comes to Love is Blind. They should have told the person before that moment. Some people believe, well, no, that's what the show is about. You wait until that moment to tell them. Will decided to tell Britney, hey, this is what my decision, so she could sit with it. She could sit with it overnight. Is it going to hurt no matter when he told her? It was going to hurt. But I think it was good that he told her beforehand so that she could gather herself, right? Before they got in that chair. But something tells me that the experts are going to try to convince Will not. And I don't know if Will's going to bend, because I'm pretty sure he really doesn't want to be with Britney. I think he knows that he's not happy, you see. But I know he cares for her, and I know that I think he wanted to be married. I don't think Will just came on the show for fame or fortune. Some people come on the show for fame or fortune. I think Will really did come on the show for a partner, because I do think it's hard for him to find a partner, because Will has the type of personality that not every woman will like it. So there ain't women falling at his feet, and he's not falling at a bunch of women's feet. So I think connecting with people is difficult for Will. So in that respect, I think that he came on the show with true intentions. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see, or I'll have to see on the next episode, whether or not the no stays a no, or if the no turns to a yes. But we also got to see a little bit about Rhonda and Pat. And Pat finally talked about how Rhonda triggers him. He triggers him because we're finding out about Pat, that Pat is a person who's a people pleaser. That's what I said last episode. You could tell he's a people pleaser. But he gave us a background into how it developed. I tell everybody this. Whatever you're struggling with in your adult years, there is a very, very good chance that these habits were formed when you were a child. That's why I tell everyone they've got to go back to their childhood. It's not to blame parents. Okay, parents, parents, we do the best we can, but there are things that happen that damages our children. Okay, and we are children too. We're somebody's daughter too. We're someone's son too. And you have to go back and find out those things, because if you don't address them, you're not able to see how they're affecting your current day life. And what Pat told us the story was that he grew up in a military family with a lot of expectations, that he also served the military. He had colonels in his father was a colonel, his grandfather was a colonel, or something or another. And early, at a very young age, he was trained, that's what it's called, groomed, to please other people, to sacrifice himself for others, right? And now here he is doing the same thing. I said earlier on, why is Pat living with his mama? He's a grown man. Why is he living with his mama, right? But you can see the cycle with Pat, the cycle of turmoil, the cycle of pain. He talks about his own anxiety, right? And he talks about how Rhonda triggers him, because Rhonda is another person demanding things for him. And Rhonda sat up there and told that man, I need you to be yourself. Rhonda is such a narcissist. So now Rhonda has somehow made their fights to be about the fact that Pat hasn't been himself. What? Every time Pat tries to be himself, Rhonda, you put him down. Now Rhonda is saying, I can't be with you if you can't be yourself. What the hell, Rhonda? Rhonda needs medication. She needs something, because let me tell you, the only thing I can help for is that one is Pat does not say yes to Rhonda. The second thing I can hope for is that Rhonda sees herself on this show. She sees all the reviews out here about her, and she gets the help that she needs. Because maybe Rhonda didn't believe it when it was just her kids telling her. Maybe Rhonda didn't believe it when ex-husbands told her. Maybe Rhonda didn't believe it when someone on her job told her. But maybe Rhonda will believe it now when millions of Americans out here who are watching this show are telling her, you're a narcissist and you've got problems. She can't deny it no more. And what it should also give is anyone who's in Rhonda's life, it should give you cover. It should give you validation. Because you've probably been wondering, is it just me who's having these problems with Rhonda? Is it just me? And we're all here to tell you right now, it's not you, it's her. Even though she's probably gaslit you to hell and back and made you believe it's you, just be assured from here on forward, it's not you, it's her. Rhonda got big problems, really, really big problems. And let me tell you, who else got big problems? Belinda and Chad. Big old problems. You know, they had that big old fight about the dog sleeping in the bed. They didn't talk. Chad went and slept at his own house. And then they had to have an emergency 911 call with Dr. Pia. And then what Belinda brings to the table, because she's so triggered over anything that can even seemingly be a lie, that Chad said he talked to Josh, and it wasn't true. He didn't talk to Josh. That's not what happened. And all of a sudden now, Chad is just some big liar. Now, I'm going to give this part to Belinda. Do I believe that Chad has a problem with his tone, his delivery? I do. I actually do. Okay. But that's not going to, for me, erase what I know about Belinda too. We know Chad has been divorced 4 times. I don't know if this is his 4th marriage or his 5th marriage. I think he's been divorced 3 times and this is his 4th. I don't know. Whatever it is, it's too many times. And you are starting to see a bit about what could have been a problem in Chad's life. But the way that Belinda blew, whatever you want to call it, a lie, a mix-up, to be honest with you, what my gut is telling me is that Josh and Chad really did have that conversation. And that the person who is lying actually is Josh to Jalen. Because one thing both of these men know, both Josh and Chad, is they really can't be truthful to these ladies. They can't be truthful to Jalen, and they can't be truthful to Belinda. So even if Josh felt like production was driving a wedge between them, he couldn't tell Jalen that because Jalen can't handle the truth. This is what I mean about fragile people. And this is why I'm going to tell fragile people, you help. You're not solely responsible for the liars in your life, but you help people lie to you. Because what people start to do is they notice your fragility. They know that you can't take the truth. What did Jack Nicklaus say? The truth? You can't handle the truth. So what they choose to do, because they know you can't handle the truth, is they lie to you. And then when you find out that they've lied to you, you crucify them for the lie too. This is the problem with people who are so fragile. And I'm going to tell you, this is what happens to you in a lot of relationships, because people do not trust that they can come to you in honesty. Because if they come to you in their truth and their honesty, what they know is you will probably cast them aside, you will throw them away, or you can't handle the truth. So a lot of people are fragile in life. A lot of times they run around and talk about, I don't know why I always meet all these liars. I'm always meeting liars. Well, you ought to also think about how you play a role, okay, in helping to nurture lying, people who lie to you. And a lot of times it's because you can't handle the truth. You're fragile. So do I believe that Josh and Chad had that conversation? I actually do. I believe they did. And I believe that Josh kept the text away from Jalen, just like he kept away those other texts from that ex-girlfriend. And I think that Josh lied to Jalen because Josh doesn't want to do anything to disrupt the yes on decision day. He doesn't. He wants to be married to Jalen. And I think Chad is over here taking the bullet for Josh. You could see it in Chad. You could see it welling up in him. He had something to say, but he didn't want to say it. He kept his mouth shut. Chad, I believe, in his former life or maybe even his present life, can be a bit of a hothead. And what he's chosen to do is keep his mouth shut. He says, because if I open my mouth, something's going to come out that's wrong. He's going to come out that something's wrong. And Miss Belinda sat on here and said that she's tired of putting herself aside to make him comfortable. I couldn't believe it, y'all. I couldn't believe Belinda said that she is tired of putting herself aside just to make Chad comfortable. And Chad nearly choked on his own spit. He sure did. He nearly choked on his own spit. She said when he wants to wind down, he wants to go have a drink and sleep and be on the couch. And he looked at her and said, well, when you want to do it, you want to be in the bed on your phone. And he said, and the reason why I don't want to come in that bed is because that dog is in the bed. And that woman tried to act like he had never mentioned that dog before. And we all heard it. We've all heard Chad mention that dog. So, you know what? Belinda over here calling Chad a liar. You the liar, Belinda. I don't know if you're a liar or you are of selective hearing. But like I said before to Belinda, Belinda don't really give a damn about Chad. Belinda don't care about anyone but herself. And she says she wants Chad to own up to his issues. Girl, when you gonna own up to your issues? Let me tell you something. Belinda, well, no, Rhonda is definitely my least favorite on the show. She is my least favorite on the show. But I'll tell you this, right behind Rhonda of being my least favorite on the show is Belinda. Hands down, no doubt about it. Not Megan, absolutely not Megan. It is absolutely Belinda. And Chad has had enough. He's had enough. Because he said he can't have a conversation with someone who's not rational. And that's Belinda. That's what I said. When you are so focused on protecting yourself, you lose all rationale. It's like the boogeyman. It's the boogeyman. You're emotionally charged. And that's Belinda. That's Belinda. Poor Chad. Chad said, when I want to ride down, I like to go to the ranch. I like to go fishing. He says, I haven't been able to do any of that because I'm so busy trying to make things work with Belinda. Chad has come way too far outside of who he is. And that's part of the problem because what he knows is if Belinda actually sees who he is, she won't like him. She won't like him. And at least Belinda got in touch a little bit with where it all comes from. And she says she's uncomfortable with conflict. She says her ex-husband used to do a lot of arguing and shouting all the time. And we also see that she said her kids saw a lot of that. So if you know this about yourself, Belinda, then couldn't you believe just a little bit that you are easily spooked? If you know you have this trauma in your life, why not now say to yourself, ooh, I wonder if I'm being a little bit too easily spooked. I wonder if I'm overreacting. I'm wondering if I'm too sensible. And what she says was no. I've carved out a space in my life, a peaceful space, and I'm so fragile that I can't come out my bubble. You see, that's what Belinda is saying. She and Jalen both were the same way. We're so fragile that we want to live in a bubble world and we want to protect ourselves. And unless the only way you're going to get into our world is if you do exactly what we say, because we can't stand any elements outside of this bubble. And Dr. Pia tried to tell her, you can't be this hypervigilant. You can't live in the past. You can't live in a bubble. But Belinda's too scared to do it. Too scared to do it. Jalen's the same way. Jalen is just a younger version of her mother. But they are very, very similar. Anyway, I'm going to watch the next episode. I will talk to y'all guys after I watch it. Okay, bye.